There's no contact.
What's that elbow?
Reggie was trying to get his arm back from Canby holding him.
So 5 fouls on Reggie Miller. Let's see if they go after him.
The crowd, unbelievable.
Miller is guarding Sprewell, but Houston, and one.
No defensive rotation whatsoever for Larry Bird's Pacers. Everybody just on their feet. They're not going to sit down the rest of the game.
Three-point play by Allen Houston. He said this team plays best when it's a cornered animal. They saw Larry Johnson, their leading series scorer, go out with an injury in the second quarter. And since then, Allen Houston has hit 10 of 11 and taken over the game. Rose for three. Jalen Rose keeping Indiana in it. Three-pointer by Jalen cuts the lead in half.
And there is another guy, you know, when the odds are against him, it's very dangerous. And Jalen Rose is stepping up in this one, 7 here in the quarter.
But who can play the individual defense to stop the penetration of New York? They're coming right back to Houston, and why not?
Well, he's got to keep driving. The ball comes over the top.
Oh, Allen Houston, unstoppable the last 2 quarters, 32 in the game.
Players live for this moment. You just feel so golden. Everything is coming back. The opposition playing in slow motion.
Rick Smith's ball away, and one. $19 for Rick Smith, and a chance for a three-point play as Dudley commits the foul.
If the Pacers are going to lead the Garden tonight, they're not going to go quietly as Rick Smith turns and fires. You know, ever since he got that traveling call, Rick Smith has been a wild man out here on the floor for the Pacers. He has a chance for the three-point play.
Got the free throw. 78-76 New York, just over 3 minutes left in Game 6. A New York win sends them to the finals, the first 8th seed to ever make it that far. A Pacers win forces a Game 7 on Sunday. Childs, Canby, puts it down.
Dale Davis just standing there, rooted to the floor, watching the ball, watching other players play the game.
Away from the ball, an offensive foul. Rick Smith.
Chris Childs pulls the trigger from the free throw line. Marcus Camby gracefully sliding in. Nothing the Pacers can do about it.
Knicks lead by 4, 2:41 away from the finals.
As a force player, with you for the long haul.
Surprised the Empire State Building isn't in blue and orange the way this town has gone. This city has gone crazy over the Knicks. Patrick Ewing leading cheers during the timeout. The crowd never stopped.
An incredibly emotional scene here. Lots of points need to be scored by the Knicks because the Pacers are far from being done.
Childs nearly lost his balance and throws it away.
And again, absolutely horrible spacing for the Knicks.
Well, you know, for Chris Childs, you know, he lives off of inspiration, and it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with in the final 2:21 as he made a mistake in. Miller.
Reggie Miller misses the three. Childs takes it off the floor, and we're down to the 2-minute mark in Game 6.
Beautifully executed play. Reggie didn't even look down at Smith, who's had a hotter offensive half than Reggie Miller.
Miller only 3 of 16 in the game. Childs for three. What are they doing there? Mark Jackson.
New York has given Indiana every single chance. The question is, can Indiana capitalize here?
Reggie Miller looks to Smith. Instead, they work the ball the other way. Shot clock at 8. Rose to Jackson. Half to the basket. Couldn't get the shot away. 2 to shoot. Rose gets it up. Missed it. Canby skies for the rebound.
He's just moving beautifully as the great rebounders have done in history. Of course, Wilt, Russell, the absolute best. The defense, though, the closeout by Sprewell to force him to put it on the ball.
And Rick Smits fouls out of the game, replaced by Antonio Davis. Smits leaves with 20 points. Top point getter tonight for the Indiana Pacers, who are in danger of being eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, they took the Bulls to Game 7 last year.
All season long, the Pacers have talked about wanting to be champions, but they have not had the resolve here tonight to be champions. And, you know, when you talk about teams that want it, you got to find a hero someplace. Tonight, the New York Knicks have found one in Allen Houston, Camby, and Childs, and there has been no answer for the guys in pinstripes in purple. I mean, that's blue and gold.
Pick a color, Steve. That's okay. Larry Bird needs a timeout. And are the Indiana Pacers going to take the same route out of here that the Utah Jazz took?
And the man no one wanted in New York, Marcus Camby, has led the way.
Introducing the new full-size Toyota Tundra. Have we gone too far, or have others not gone far enough?
Hey! Excuse me, Wyatt?
Yes?
Can I get a bite of that Subway foot-long sandwich?
No?
Come on, damn it.
Sorry, little man.
Hey!
Big appetite? Go to Subway. Our footlongs are meals in themselves with your choice of meats and veggies. They're bigger than any burger. Subway, the way a really big sandwich should be.
When was the last time someone remembered your name, your preference for wine, or that you like your sea bass blackened and your prime rib rare? When was the last time the only difficult choice was steel drums or string quartet? And when was the last time you celebrated all night just because it's Tuesday? Holland America, it's time.
Imagine if people could just order things online and out they came. Into their homes. Into their offices. Well, maybe someday. But today, the best way to get stuff off the web is UPS. In fact, UPS delivers more e-business shipments than anyone else. So to ship from the virtual world, rely on the same people you rely on in the real world. UPS, moving at the speed of e-business.
NBC this fall. From the creator of Law and Order. A new show, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. A new breed of detective, specialists who tackle New York's most emerging.
When the Knicks last won the NBA title in 1973, they boasted one of the great teams in NBA history. Twice in 4 years, this cerebral veteran team would raise championship banners. It was over 2 decades before the franchise saw the NBA Finals again. And in it, the Knicks were one victory away from another title. But their dreams would end in a nightmare in Houston. And the wait for New York would continue to this day. There's Patrick Ewing, the only member of the Knicks that was on that team. And he, of course, out of action now with an injury. San Antonio awaits the winner in the NBA Finals. And the Knicks a minute 22 away from making that date with the Spurs.
The Knicks, like Game 5, have been perfect down the stretch. Reggie tried to bring it right back early, but Camby is there again. Do they foul right away if you're Indiana?
Well, Indiana has got to get possession of the ball. So they got to gamble right here in the backcourt to try to make a steal on the ball, maybe get lucky, get the ball, and get a play. Otherwise, they have got to foul just to keep the Knicks from using 24 seconds every single time. Dudley out of the ball game.
Fine move by Van Gundy getting Kurt Thomas in, a better foul shooter than Dudley.
11 of his last 12. Allen Houston, he and Camby have been the difference.
The Knicks are 11 for 14 here in the fourth quarter. They scored on 10 of their final 11 possessions in Game 5. That's playing perfect basketball. That's closing them out. 10 seconds. Mike Mathis right on top of the call here.
10-second violation gives it back to Indiana with 1:03 on the clock.
Breakdown mentally. The Knicks just can't seem to handle prosperity as the subs back in. Defense and rebounding. Dudley in for Thomas.
Well, again, what the Knicks defense has to guard against is a quick three-point field goal to cut the lead in half. They want to make them work all 24 seconds to get a score, and they want that score to be a deuce.
Reggie's 3 for 17.
Back to Jackson. Open man from the corner for 3. Jalen Rose.
Chris Childs. Dudley.
Dudley on the floor to get it for New York. 42 seconds left. Here's Sprewell. Jackson with a 3 for Indiana. It's a 5-point game. 30 seconds left. Indiana foul.
That last play that ignited the fast break. Chris Dudley ran from 25 feet away and dove as Larry Bird looks on in just abject disappointment. That led to this fabulous drive. Sprewell just crossing over. No one on this team for the Indiana is stopping Latrell Sprewell on the way to the hoop.
Indiana motivated by that. As you see Sprewell react to throwing it down. And now he'll come to the free throw line. But Indiana motivated by that 7th game loss to the Bulls last season. Really the only team that stayed together during the lockout, working out constantly. They were the favorites from the outset to step in and replace the Bulls with Michael Jordan retiring. They struggled sometimes during the regular season, especially to close out close games. But in the playoffs, they seem to come alive. Now New York, the improbable New York Knicks, who have battled all sorts of adversity all season long, on the verge of eliminating the Pacers again.
And Sprewell, who went from a year ago from the villain, from the most vilified player maybe in the history of the NBA, to now on the verge of taking his team to the finals and maybe being the MVP if it's not Marcus Camby.
.8 seconds left. New York about to become the only 8th team to ever make the finals. Back after these messages from your local station.
Thinking they had their chance. So far denied.
Jalen Rose. If he
scored.
Let's see if he gets the continuation.
Pavetta says yes, absolutely.
Yes, basket counts. Jalen Rose with a chance for a 3-point play.
What they do is guard nobody. They let him go down the lane. And in this situation, you want the opposition to use the entire 24 seconds. There was 31.1 seconds to go, and they only used 3 seconds to get the score. So they're still in the ball game. And Van Gundy, you know, he doesn't have much hair. He could lose it all before the night is over.
He's on his knees over there right now, Van Gundy.
So they've got a 5-point advantage. Rose looking to make it a 4-point game. Indiana, after the free throw, is going to gamble, and they're going to try to steal the ball, stop the clock.
We got Perkins in right now.
Childs gets it to Sprewell.
That's a great move by Childs. Terrific decision making. Sprewell's the guy. He's been iced at the line. The only one he missed at the end of the game last Game 5 was when he was calling the crowd out when they were chanting his name over in Market Square.
But remember, the Indiana Pacers still are full of quick-second heroics, and every time the Knicks have looked like they've got this thing won, suddenly they cut the lead in half.
Reggie's been here before. So Tom and I did the game when he had 8 points in 16 seconds, so he's just waiting, I guess.
And 4 points is not safe anymore, as we've seen from Larry Johnson. But here's Latrell Sprewell. The big question for the Knicks, or one of them anyway, that they had to answer this season. Could Latrell Sprewell and Allen Houston play together? Well, tonight, the answer is an emphatic yes. Sprewell with 19 points, Houston 32 points. They've combined for 51 of New York's 87.
And in Latrell Sprewell, they have a guy who can get to the free throw line and make it. And that is a huge edge in any era of the NBA basketball.
6-point lead with 25.9 seconds left. And Indiana about to face disappointment again. But what about the improbable New York Knicks? Remember, during the lockout, Patrick Ewing was one of the leaders of the Union and wasn't thinking much about basketball, was not in shape. Then the Camby deal was questioned. The fans and many of the people around the league thought it was a mistake to trade Charles Oakley for Marcus Camby. And his coach, Jeff Van Gundy, didn't believe in him, didn't play him much, said he was too soft, didn't work hard enough, and maybe was out of shape. Then Latrell Sprewell comes over with all the baggage he had. And then controversy about whether he should start or not, and he's saying he wanted to start. Ernie Grunfeld demoted as the general manager of the team. The team at one time was 21-21, dealing with the Grunfeld firing. And, of course, Van Gundy's job still at this moment in question. They had an unbelievable comeback down at Miami. I believe without Patrick Ewing, they were down 20. They came back to win. Next night went on the road, won again at Charlotte. Jeff Van Gundy says that's what turned them around. They still struggled, had to make the playoffs on the last day, as I recall. But then in the playoffs, it's been something else. This was the Miami comeback game, which proved to be now the turnaround point for this New York team. Late April, Knicks pulled off this huge comeback against the Heat, trailed by 20 in the third quarter. Larry Johnson, Marcus Camby, they came roaring back in the fourth. They won it by 2. Camby and Johnson each with 9 points in the fourth. Knicks scored on 11 of their last 13 to come away with a win. Then they had that other win in Charlotte we mentioned, and that seemed to be the turnaround point for this team. And then in the playoffs, Allen Houston bounces one twice, the rim, the backboard, and through to beat Miami on the road in Game 5. They waltzed through the Hawks. Then it took a Larry Johnson miracle 4-point play here at the Garden. Now we've come to this. It's the most improbable story ever in the NBA.
Tom, you covered it all, and you left out Larry Johnson's injury tonight.
And now they overcome the Larry Johnson injury in the second quarter. It is just astounding.
It is still a long way from over. Mullen comes in the ball game along with Jackson, Rose, Perkins, and Miller. They're looking for 3. Miller got 3, but they don't get him the ball. Got it now.
Miller for 3. Childs the rebound.
They have to foul immediately. The Knicks have been terrific at the free throw line.
You know, as courageous as Reggie Miller has been and as many big shots as he has made through his career, and here in the Garden, eventually it had to turn against him. He is 3 of 18 tonight, and there is no magic in that right arm today. And it's heartbreaking for him and all Pacer fans. And Chris Childs has been a terrific free thrower through the regular season, fallen off a little bit in the playoffs, but they just want one from him now.
Where does this leave Larry Bird, though, as Mark Jackson sits and watches the crowd chanting Larry Bird? So much pressure. Said at the start of this series that this was a series that the franchise had to win. Right now, though, Larry, there'll be a lot of stories, there'll be a lot of rumors about him walking away. Larry Bird is not a quitter. Larry Bird is going to come back. He'll fight this thing through. He just needs the luxury of having that one truly special player that the Pacers seem to be lacking at this point.
Big free throw disparity in the game. New York has hit 27 of 33. Indiana's attempted only 9 free throws in the game, hitting all 9 of them.
Sprewell blocking shots. The Pacers have given up.
And NBA history has just been made. The New York Knicks are the first 8th seed to ever make the NBA Finals. Jeff Van Gundy's wife in tears. What more could they possibly overcome? They'll get a chance as they meet San Antonio in the finals. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Nobody is happier than Patrick Ewing. Patrick, describe this moment for us, please.
Oh, this feels very good. You know, we're going back to the big show, going back to the big dance. I'm very proud of my teammates. I thought they played fabulous. Larry got hurt, but the guys They came out and did it for us.
What was the mood in the locker room at halftime when Larry did get hurt?
Well, it was kind of down. We was kind of down. We didn't know how what the extent of it was, but you know, it's going to be day to day, and hopefully be able to play.
How difficult is this for you? You're a part of the celebration. You've been a part of the team, but you're not able to participate now.
Well, it's very frustrating. You know, I wish I was able to play, help my teammates, but they're doing a fabulous job. I just want to go and get involved in the celebration.
Well, go get in the huddle. Congratulations, Patrick. Over to Tom. No, let's go to Snapper Jones.
All right, Jim Gray. I'm with the offensive hero of the game, Allen Houston. Larry Johnson goes down, and in your mind, you say, I've got to do it. The torch was there. Did you tell everybody, just bring it to me?
I was at peace the whole game. You know, God was with me. And I got to give the glory to the Lord on this one because, you know, this is one of those games I just felt it. You know, I just felt it the whole game and stayed with it.
Well, if there's peace, there's a lot of joy now. You've been jumping around like you've never jumped before.
I can't help it right now. I can't help it. It's the best feeling I've had so far.
Well, congratulations to you. I know that you're all looking forward to getting to the finals. Let's go back to Jim Gray with Marcus Camby.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, thank you very much. Marcus Camby getting congratulated by Patrick Ewing. Marcus, when Larry Johnson went down, did you feel as though this one maybe headed 7 and there was despair?
Oh, we was kind of down for LJ, but if LJ was out here, we know that he wanted us to go out there and play hard. And guys circle the wagons. Allen really picked it up with the trail. It was definitely a solid team winning the second half.
How improbable is this scenario from where this team was, the first 8th seed, to go to a championship?
It's been a wild season. I mean, from the start all the way to the finish. You know, our goal was not complete. We want to get in there, get a couple of days of practice, get ready for San Antonio and go out and win this thing.
Without Patrick, and while the word is not complete on Larry, you may be without him. Are you going to be able to compete against San Antonio? You haven't faced them this year, but can you compete shorthanded?
Without a doubt. Guys on this team got a lot of heart. We know they're well rested. They have a good team down there. But we're on an emotional high right now. We're going to have to find a way to get it done.
Describe this scene if you can. There's nothing like winning in New York City, is there?
There's nothing like winning here in New York. I'm so happy I'm here. I'm so happy for my family and all my friends. I couldn't make it back home in Hartford. I love y'all. I'm going to try to get it done for y'all.
Marcus, congratulations. We'll see you at the championship. All right, let's send it over to Snapper Jones with Latrell Sprewell.
All right, Latrell, you are living a dream right now. You've been jumping up and down. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. I'm having so much fun. Like you said, I was all over the place once that horn went off. I'm just loving this.
You know, you had a little bit of a struggle tonight, and coming into the fourth quarter, you seemed to wake up and give that team that little bit of extra boost. Did you feel any pressure because you needed to score knowing Johnson was down?
Well, I just couldn't get going early. Offensively, I was struggling, but I was proud of my defense. And in the fourth quarter, I said, hey, this is it. We can't go back to Indiana. You know, the Lord will bless me and let a couple of shots go down for me, and hey, the rest is history.
All right, let's go back to Tom Hammond.
Thank you. All right, Steve Jones, and contrast this scene with when San Antonio completed their sweep of Portland. Not much celebration from the Spurs. They're looking ahead to the finals. They will be a formidable opponent for the New York Knicks when the finals begin on Wednesday. And thoughts now go to the status of Larry Johnson. Will he be able to play? Johnson went down with 6:03 left in the second quarter. The Knicks were ahead by 2 at the time. Just the latest obstacle this improbable team has overcome during the season. Final score, New York 90 and Indiana 82. Now stay tuned on most of these stations for the late local news, followed by The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, then Late Night with Conan O'Brien. Sure to join us Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern for Game 1 of the NBA Finals, the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs NBA Finals here on NBC. It's been a great season. We've really enjoyed it. For Steve Jones, Bill Walton, and Jim Gray, this is Tom Hammond saying so long from wild Madison Square Garden in New York. You've been watching the NBA on NBC.
Building begin to quake and tremble as the fans were celebrating the 90-82 victory.
Well, we are down, and I was concerned about that.
Sure
I
about
didn't want them to fall down here, but that was reminiscent to the championship years when I played. The Knicks fans, the most provocative in the league, and I was hoping that the Knicks would come out and feed off the crowd. Both teams were dreadful in the first quarter. No one could make a basket, but still it was a good omen for the Knicks that as poorly as they shot the ball, they were still in the game. The Pacers were never able to take charge.
Well, floor-wise, we are down. Al is up, as in fifth floor is in ground zero of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, won by the Knicks. Let's check in with Al. He is courtside in a frenzied Madison Square Garden.
And Bill, not since John Starks dunked over Michael Jordan have we actually felt the fifth floor of Madison Square Garden bounce up and down. There's a huge party in progress, and from the looks of things, no one wants to go home. When the clock struck midnight, the Knicks were the Eastern Conference champions, playing once again the fourth quarter of their lives in the game of their lives. We're trying to calculate what they shot in the fourth quarter, but it was a staggeringly high number. Allen Houston started things off in the final 12 minutes for all the marbles in the Eastern Conference. Chris Childs hit a three, but the real key sequence in this game came once again in the final minutes. Crunch time. With 4 minutes to go, Latrell Sprewell hit a shot to give the Knicks a three-point lead. Then Allen Houston had an and one, and suddenly they were up 6, 76-70. And in the final 3 minutes, the Knicks outscored the Indiana Pacers by a final tally of 12-4. And they win this one in front of a delirious crowd at Madison Square Garden. Allen Houston came up huge with 32 points. Marcus Camby had another double-double. And the Knicks have themselves a chance to play in the NBA Finals. Larry Johnson went down with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter, and everyone wondered as the buzz went through the building, how serious is the injury? How will the Knicks respond? Well, Jeff Van Gundy didn't change things. Marcus Camby and Chris Childs sat at the start of the third quarter, and Indiana roared to an 11-0 run. Finally, Jeff could not ignore the evidence. Chris Childs and Marcus Camby had to enter the game. When they did, the Knicks got back in the flow, and Camby and Childs never saw the bench again. Joining me now on the floor here is Mike Breen. And Mike, I don't know where to begin with this team, but I didn't think with Larry Johnson's status that the Knicks could afford to go back and play a Game 7. If they couldn't play a second half up 6 and beat Indiana, I don't think they had a shot to play a Game 7 and win. When it came down to the final 12 minutes, I thought the pressure enormous on a team that has never played a bigger game.
And ironically, it was the game that they started. They were very tight to start this game. And Al, it's a phrase that we say too much in sports about a player or a team that has heart. But in this case, it's so true. This team has shown that heart throughout the course of the season. It's really one of the most improbable and special runs, not only in New York Knicks history, but in NBA playoff history. It's just a magnificent turnaround for a team that went from barely making the playoffs to now have a shot at the championship.
Yeah, the Knicks are the first 8th seed to go to the NBA Finals. It's almost difficult to say when you consider what this was 6 weeks ago. I saw you over there busy calculating the fourth quarter shooting, which is as clutch as you can be in this league. What was it?
The Knicks shot 10 of 13 from the field in the fourth quarter. Allen Houston was 4 for 4 in maybe his greatest shining moment. Houston was just unbelievable. You had that feeling when you watched him with the ball. He was so aggressive, so strong with the ball. He felt there wasn't anyone in the building that could guard him, and he certainly proved that down the stretch.
I love this building on nights like this, and this game gave you absolutely everything from the very beginning. The adversity of the Knicks starting down 11-4. The adversity of Larry Johnson going down to injury. The adversity of Indiana starting the third quarters as good as they were, and then the adversity of winning a tied fourth quarter.
And the way they finished with a minute 22 remaining, the Knicks went up 6, and it was a timeout. The continuous roar throughout that timeout was like none other I've heard since I've been here at Madison Square Garden.
And if you wanted some symbolism for all the pain that Reggie Miller has inflicted on the New York Knicks, he took a three with 2:07 to go. It was more in than out, and suddenly it was out. And then he had 2 more chances at what could have been a dagger at the time he let him go, and they both missed as well. So he misses his last 3 shots, ending a season which was supposed to be a guaranteed trip to the finals for these Indiana Pacers.
And Miller was scoreless in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks played brilliant defense. I think at times tonight it may have been their best defensive effort of the season when you include the fact that, of course, they're playing without Patrick Ewing and then played without Larry Johnson. Chris Childs was magnificent on defense, but overall the team defense was as good as I've seen all year.
It's one of those nights, if you're a Knicks fan, you just want to let it wash over you and never go to bed. But eventually we will, and before we do, we'll talk about this potential matchup with the San Antonio Spurs, which is largely going to hinge on the health of Larry Johnson, if that gives the Knicks a chance to beat their height as well. But as you look ahead to that series, you know the Knicks have 5 days to enjoy this one. Jeff Van Gundy's got 5 days to prepare. That's always good for this team. Plus, he's got $3.5 million to spend. And Larry Johnson has 5 days to get better.
Certainly, it all depends. So much depends on Larry Johnson and whether or not he's available, because the Knicks so sorely miss Patrick Ewing, and now they miss Johnson, and here's the injury.
The injury occurs right there as he takes a blow from Antonio Davis to the knee. quiet as it can be. Everyone knew he's been the most consistent offensive performer in this series. Everyone knew about the 4-point play and all the big three-pointers. But there was Larry Johnson on the floor in absolute pain. And here is Allan Houston joining us. What were you thinking, Allan, when you saw LJ on the floor in so much pain?
At that time, it was very disheartening. And we know God's with him. And we're going to pray for him. But, we really wanted to pick our spirits up real quickly, to get back into the game, and fortunately we were able to do that.
As you went into the fourth quarter and the game was tied, do you have a flashing thought that this is the most important quarter you may ever play?
I think what was going through my mind at the time, I was really at peace. God was just with me the whole time. I had a great feeling throughout the whole game, and I got to give a glory to the Lord, but we were just thinking the whole time, 12 minutes or 24 minutes to the finals. And that's what was going through our mind, just whatever it takes.
In that stretch, you got a chance to get Reggie Miller in big-time foul trouble. What did that do to your confidence?
Well, during the whole game, I think my confidence just skyrocketed in the first quarter when I was able to get the kind of shots that I wanted to get. This whole series, I was just kind of taking shots just to shoot the ball. And I think in the second half of last game, I realized just take your time and get the shots that you want to get. And I was able to get those and then get some of the guys in foul trouble.
With the status of Larry in doubt, did you look at this as a game you had to have because of Game 7, 48 minutes without him would be a tall task?
God set the stage for us, and when he's with you, anything is possible. So we just basically, we didn't put pressure on ourselves. We knew we had one half to go to get to the finals. That's all we thought about.
Did you have a chance to talk to Larry before he went to the hospital?
He said he was okay. His face looked a little glassy, but he looked. You could tell he was with us.
Give me a sense of how you think this team is going to match up with the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, we got to really play tough defense. They're a good defensive team, but I think what we're going to have to do is really play together, use our quickness and our athletic ability against them, and just try to play really solid defense. We don't want to be scrambling around trying to double team too much. We just want to play solid defense against them.
In the head of the Indiana Pacers, they really misplayed crunch time in the regular season and in this series with you guys. When you got the and one to give your team a 6-point lead with 3 minutes to go, did you feel like it was your game or still not yet?
I felt like it was my game the whole night, really. Like I said, the guy was with me, and at that point, the whole time throughout my game, I was just saying it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and that really, play after play that happened for me, that was just going through my mind.
I was right next to the team when it came onto the floor, and you guys looked loose. But when it was 11-4 and all the shots were hitting the rim, you looked a little tight. Do you think the team was?
Well, I think what happened was, we got down on the road, and we got down, even in here, we learned from those mistakes. So we just went back to what we do well, and that got us back in the game.
Allan, thanks a lot for your time. Congratulations, and wear that hat proudly.
I will, thank you.
All right, Larry Bird meeting with the media here live at the Garden.
Larry, why did the team fail in the 6 games, and what happened tonight that caused this team to fail?
Pardon?
Why didn't you win, basically, the series and tonight?
We just didn't win.
Is there a reason?
Larry, can you just talk about the disappointment you feel now vis-a-vis last year when you played so well against the Bulls? And
yeah, obviously very disappointed the way we played in this series. You battle, you have, it seemed like we always had 3 guys that play well in each game, but we never did get the 5 guys that we needed to win a ball game. I always tell my guys we have to have 5 or 6 guys because we play 9 or 10 that they have to play well, and we just didn't get that throughout. We had one good game here where we had 6 guys that played really well and we won the ball game, but other than that, we really didn't have that many guys to really step up and play.
Larry, can you talk about Reggie tonight? He didn't have a good shooting night, but it appeared as though he was trying to draw offensive fouls rather than follow through on his shots.
Well, I don't know. The first half, I thought he had a lot of good looks. He had a lot of opportunities to score. He had open shots. He was moving very well, but he just couldn't get it to go down. Going in at halftime, knowing that we turned the ball over as many times as we did, and was out shot from the free throw line 14 times and down 6, I thought we had a good opportunity to win the game. But in the second half, every time we get a run, it seems like we get a whistle and we couldn't make anything happen.
Larry.
From Larry Bird, we're live on the court, and I would say thousands of Knicks fans remain here, but we're with a 20-point man, Latrell Sprewell, along with Mike Breen. Give me your overview of the game. You've never played a game this big.
It was a close game throughout. We were obviously disappointed when Larry went out with that injury. That was a big blow to us, and emotionally, we love to have that guy on the floor. He's the one that keeps everybody together. He's our vocal leader. So when he went down, it was an emotional drain on us, but we stayed together. Allen carried us for most of the game, and I was able to help us in the fourth, and we got the win.
You look at the defensive performance, I felt one of the best defensive performances of the season, and the key was you never got in the penalty from the first quarter on. The team was never in the penalty. They didn't go to the free throw line all season long. The half-court defense has been great. Sometimes the team has committed silly fouls. That wasn't the case tonight.
No, tonight we really buckled down, and we knew we were going to have one of our better defensive performances if we were going to win this game. They had been shooting over 50% in here, and we wanted to bring that number way down. We did that, and that was the key tonight because we weren't that great offensively.
Hey, Latrell, as honest as you can be, 3 weeks to go in the regular season. I sit you down in the locker room in a quiet moment. I say, you're going to go to the NBA Finals. What do you say to me?
You're right. Oh, come on. I'm a big believer in this team, and I've always said that even when we were down in Charlotte, people were looking at me crazy because I said, hey, all we have to do is get in and anything can happen.
Oh, you got to be that way. Hey, when this game started and you were 1 for 14 and you look up at the clock and you see that you're only down 3 points, do you think anything like that, like we just survived something?
Well, hey, it doesn't matter. As long as the thing you have to do is stay focused, stay in the game, no matter what's happening on the floor, just stay positive and keep looking forward. And that's what we did as a team, and that's what I did individually.
The reason the team was able to wrap it up here at home was because you had huge road wins. Team 6-2 on the road in the playoffs after during the regular season, a bad road team, you could say. Only 8 wins the whole road season during the regular season. What's been the key on the turnaround on the road to get you to a game like this?
Well, I think after that Miami win on the road, we finally built confidence. That was the first game where we were down big and we came back and we got the win. It was like after that, somebody switched the light on. It's like, hey, we can win on the road. And from that point on, we started playing with so much confidence that, nobody could bring us down.
How much was made in the fourth quarter in the huddles about this is the chance to get to the NBA Finals? Any dramatic statements made?
I think with about 7 minutes to go, Coach looked at us and said, this is it. We're not going to let this one slip by. We all had the same mentality. We knew what we had to do. And we didn't play tentative. We played aggressive down the stretch, and it paid off.
You don't normally get a breakaway in the final minute of a game like this, as close as it was, but there you were with 50 seconds to go at top speed, heading to the basket. What does that feel like?
Well, I saw Reggie down there, and I knew he didn't want to commit that 6th foul. He wanted to be in the game, so I just attacked him once I got past their initial defense, and I got an easy bucket.
How do you celebrate something like this?
You didn't see me running around here?
I saw that, but I want to know what happens when you leave this building. Where are you going?
Hey, we got 4 more to win. Then I'll be celebrating a lot more after that.
Any news on Larry, good or bad?
Sprain, so it's not torn. That's good.
When you came to the team, you didn't know the city, you didn't know the team. Now you've seen how it develops. What's been the biggest surprise for you, either with regards to the team or the city as the season's gone on?
Well, the biggest surprise is that the way they accepted me, from day one. I thought that it would take time for me to win these fans over with my play, but they were there from day one. And even when I was playing bad, they were still there for me. So that was quite surprising.
And Latrell, thanks a lot for your time. Congratulations, and we'll see you in Texas on Wednesday.
Right, baby. Texas bound.
Mikey, he's so forthright with the acceptance and everything. We're going to go inside now and step away from the court to Jeff Van Gundy, who's making the slow approach. This is one roll of adhesive tape. I'm sure you followed the story that he bounces, and when he wins, he keeps it. This is going to be one piece of adhesive tape that makes its way to San Antonio, Texas. Let's listen in as Jeff Van Gundy finally smiles in these playoffs.
Coach, in this game, Larry Johnson goes out. What goes through your mind when that happens, and how do you adjust to a loss of a great player like him?
Well, obviously Larry's a great player, and emotionally it takes a toll on your team, but our guys fought. They've had practice with Patrick being out. Practice should be interesting now. I'm going to get some time in practice, so that'll be good. But I just think that, our guys have responded all year, and they hung in today, and I'm really proud of them.
Coach, how sweet is this? I mean, considering everything that's happened.
How sweet is this for you?
Well, it's not about me, but it's sweet for the team and the organization. Very proud of our guys, how they kept fighting in this game and basically all year. And, you know, sometimes it's overlooked. You know, I'm happy for the guys that play, but I'm also happy for guys like David Wingate, Herb Williams. They meant so much to the team this year. Patrick, obviously, Larry in a hospital, Ben Davis on the injured list. I mean, all those guys, they're not out there getting a lot of credit, but our team has become a team, and where everybody has ownership in it, and that's why I'm really happy.
Coach, talk about throughout this entire series, whenever Indiana made a run, you guys would answer it. You wouldn't get down. You'd always come back. Talk about the character of your team.
Well, that 11-0 hit obviously was took its toll. You know, they showed their greatness coming out and making a run, and I thought we had to just hang. Somehow we did. Guys made shots. Allen was huge. Marcus, you know, we just. I'm just really happy for him.
Coach, in the second half, did you want to go to Allen a lot more to get him off? Because he had a tremendous second half.
We always want to go to Allen and Latrell. And if anybody else gets hurt, we're just going to go to one more guy. So if Allen or Latrell get hurt, we're just going to go to the other one for all the time. So, you know, we're just, I'm a little bit, I really don't know what to say about these guys. I'm just happy for them.
Coach,
Came into the series very much an underdog. You lost Patrick early, and then you lost Larry in the crucial games. What was it, the sheer will to win? I mean, what really wasn't that good?
Well, I think we played well. Defensively tonight, I thought we were as good as we've been all year. We forced 27 turnovers, and that was tremendous. We got timely shots from Allen. Chris Childs made a big, huge three, made some free throws. But yeah, will and work and commitment. And just, we got to the point in the year where all we cared about was winning. And that's hard to get to, but we got to it.
Coach, do you feel like you just won Lotto?
You know, I won't even dignify that. What is that?
Somebody has a wireless mic out there.
All right, Jeff Van Gundy's got some audio problems. He wants that reporter to know that this is more than money to him. This is his life to win something like this, and that's why he wouldn't dignify that comment. Obviously, we're joined now by Marcus Camby. And Marcus, you've got to feel, I don't know how you're going to handle this question, but you've got to feel like a New York star has been born in these playoffs.
I'm just so happy right now that we got the opportunity to play for everyone's dream on our team. I mean, you know, our goal is not over yet, but so far, I mean, we overcame so much adversity, barely making the playoffs, being underdogs the first 3 rounds of the series, and overcome all those odds to get to where we're at right now. Yeah, I'm just so happy.
You know, I wish I was with the guy who makes these shirts and prints those hats when he got the call from the NBA and was told, hey, you know, you better make those Knicks Eastern Conference hats and shirts.
The first thing you said when you came over here was Larry Johnson, and he's on your mind. He's been somebody that was important to you getting through your tough times early in the season. How did it affect you personally, seeing him go down and knowing he was going to be back tonight?
And it affected me a lot. Larry's a guy who's been with me since I first got here. Always in my ear, telling me to do the right thing, and I appreciate that a lot from him. That's a guy who I wish was my brother. I mean, you know, he's that type of person. And when he went down, was definitely a shock to all of us. But if LJ was in this game, he wanted us to go out here and play hard and keep fighting. Everyone is one for him.
Did you speak to him before he went to the hospital?
We saw him coming out. Told him we loved him. We was going to win this game for him, and hopefully things will turn out well.
Marcus, in the most important NBA game you've ever played, you go to the line in a situation where you have to have both free throws. What is that experience like? Can you put it into words?
It's kind of tough. Luckily, I've been in that situation a couple of times this series, so I felt comfortable coming to the line. I wasn't shooting the ball particularly well from the line tonight, we got to just focus and concentrate because those two was definitely key.
Is it time that we go to the San Antonio question, Mike?
Well, first, I want to ask him about the free throws. Now, your percentage isn't great from the line, but when it comes down to crunch time, you've hit all your free throws.
I don't know. I can't describe it. I wish I can hit them all, when I step up to the line. But, I just concentrated, focused. Free throws were definitely crucial for us, and luckily I knocked them down.
Who do you think you're going to guard, David Robinson or Tim Duncan?
Probably both guys. It doesn't matter.
At the same time, that's not a good idea.
I try. I just want to get in there and just play ball and have fun. It doesn't matter who I check.
All right, Marcus. Thanks a lot for your time.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Mike. What's your thought about Star is Born? I mean, the way the Garden receives him, the way they cheer for him when he comes into the game, the play, the rebounding, the tip-ins, everything he's done in these playoffs.
It's not that he's playing well. It's at times he's playing dominant. When he's on the floor and playing well, Al, he's the most dominant player on the floor. He has a presence, a real presence at both ends of the court now, and you can't say that about a lot of NBA players. And you start adding intangibles to his game because that's also not just stats but his intangibles, and he's turned in a dominating performance.
Well, that wild Allen Houston bounce in Miami in Game 5 has carried these Knicks to the NBA Finals. Let's go back to the studio with Marv Albert and Walt Clyde Frazier.
All right, thank you, Al. And I am on the second shift here on the Toyota Knicks postgame special. Thanks to Bill Daughtry for handling the honors earlier. Walt, during the course of the radio broadcast, John Andres and I were trying to think of a comparison as to what took place here tonight with obviously Patrick Ewing sidelined the rest of the playoffs, Larry Johnson going down in the second quarter. And what came to mind to me was Game 5, 1970, Knicks-Lakers. Willis Reed goes down. Maybe it's a stretch. Of course, that was the final series. Willis goes down, and you guys were able to rally and defeat Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and the Los Angeles Lakers in a critical game because you lose Game 6 with Willis sitting out and then win Game 7 back at the Garden.
Yeah, there are many similarities, folks, to that championship and what the Knicks have been able to accomplish here. I thought when Willis went down, it became a galvanizer for the team. Again, the crowd became our sixth man and it really ignited us, and we were able to win that game. Tonight, the crowd wasn't necessarily the catalyst for them, but I thought it was their defense, Marv. Plus, too, ironically, without LJ, that opened up the middle. So Houston and Sprewell and all these other guys had an opportunity to get in and out of pain, especially Camby. When shots were missed, he was there to capitalize. So sometimes injuries, I think this time the injury might have helped the Knicks because LJ, if he were there, would have been posting inside. And when you do that, the team becomes very stagnant.
Clyde, what was most impressive to me was the way Allen Houston took charge offensively. That had been the question with Houston going back to his days with the Detroit Pistons, certainly through his stay here in New York. Would he be able to assert himself offensively? And he took over the ball game, and also at the other end had to deal with Reggie Miller, so it was a tremendous display by Houston.
Right. Allen was brilliant. Offensively, he got Reggie in foul woes. He got Mark Jackson. At one point, no one could really guard him. So he caused mayhem for the Pacers. And the turnover factor, 27 turnovers by the Pacers, all because of the Knicks defense. I thought it was impregnable. Again, Childs provided impetus. You saw him picking up their guards from baseline to baseline. Jackson had a difficult time backing the ball up, so did Best. And the other Knicks were swarming to the ball, just not playing that double teaming, Marv, that we saw during the regular season, but just a good man-to-man defense right in their face.
Let's take a look at the matchup. Reggie Miller, just 3 of 18 from the field. You see Allen Houston played 47 minutes, 12 of 17 from the field, 8 of 10 from the line. Game high of 32, just 2 points over his off-his season high of 34. Can you explain what happened to Reggie Miller this series? In Game 5, he did have the 30 points, as we discussed after that game the other night, but still has not been the impact player that we've seen in the past. Seems to be rushing his shots for the most part.
Right, I thought he was very overzealous. And the other thing, Reggie came in here with that adrenaline because he was a Knick killer. So he thought because he was putting shots up, they were going to go in. But also Allen Houston did an outstanding job of denying him, coming over to curl play with gusto, the other Knicks helping out. And it was exposed that Reggie Miller, a lethal perimeter shooter, but not a good guy with creativity. So once he was one-on-one, all he could do was give the ball up, and this series was not a problem for the Knicks.
I don't know if you guys touched on it earlier, but I thought another major factor for the Knicks, the play of Chris Childs in the second half. Inspirational play, may not show on the stat line, 3 of 9, shooting 9 points, but had 4 rebounds and 4 assists. But he was the leader out there, particularly in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and especially I remember early in the third quarter, Mark Jackson was penetrating, scoring. He made 3 consecutive baskets on Ward. Van Gundy immediately brought in Childs and put an end to that. And Childs made some big baskets as well. And also, folks, that Van Gundy's coaching has changed dramatically from what we saw in the regular season. Normally, he would have stuck with Ward, leaving him in there, Jackson causing all type of problems. But during the playoffs, he's had a short temper with players. If you're not getting the job done, he wasn't reluctant to go to his bench.
Apparently, earlier during the course of the Jeff Van Gundy press conference, there were some technical difficulties. Bill Walton will be joining us later. A very gifted guy, technically went into the control room, straightened it all out. We present to you the rest of the Jeff Van Gundy news conference.
Coach, what does making it to the finals say about the preseason moves, the acquisitions of Sprewell and Camby, and if you could comment on what it took to get them to where they are now in your system?
Well, obviously, I was saying this before, I think the biggest factor to advancing is we've really become a team. Marcus and Latrell had a huge impact in that. I'm really happy for Marcus because of his perseverance through the year. He never pointed fingers of blame, and he just kept working, and he just played so great. You know, his tip-in tonight, I think, put us back up 4. I'm really happy for him, and obviously Latrell has gone through a lot in his life in the past year and a half, and I'm sure he feels that this is great redemption, and I'm just happy for everybody, those 2 guys, as well as, you know, the guys that have been here.
What the moves to get them? Just your thoughts on what you thought at that time and how this is vindication, perhaps, for those moves.
Well, it's all about results in this business. So when you get great results, I think everybody shares in it equally. And I think, obviously, those moves were very big, and those players were very big in us getting to where we are now.
Coach, to start the second half, they got the run on you. You seem like you broke rotation out there. You brought Marcus and Chris in there earlier than normal. In the past, you've kind of stuck with your rotation. What caused you to break it tonight?
Well, that 11-0 run. But, you know, I'm glad someone got a dig at me there about my rotation, so that was good. At least the criticism doesn't stop now. Go ahead, next.
Coach.
No, I have no idea. For tonight, I'm just going to be happy about this, and tomorrow I'll start looking at a lot of film. I know our guys, assistants, and our video coordinator, Jim Son and Matt Hardy, those 2 guys have been killing themselves, getting us ready. Jeff Nix doing the scouting. All those guys have had us unbelievably prepared, and I'll look at that tomorrow.
Jeff Van Gundy, talking to the media moments ago, made sure to make mention of Latrell Sprewell's contribution. And I guess you were in the studio, but on the court while you were here, Latrell, I would have to say, was the most avid celebrator. He was running from side to side on the court into the stands, really enjoying what took place tonight. When you consider this is a guy who played only 3 playoff games prior to coming to New York, 3 losses as a member of the Golden State Warriors, so he was rather enthusiastic.
That surprises me. Latrell very unflappable on the court. I could not envision him running around. That would be like myself running around after a victory. But I think Spree, with all that has happened to him and coming to New York, and he mentioned in his interview that the fans embraced him from day 1. And I think that really bore well with him, so he was very respectful of the fans and just appreciating this victory. Also, Marv Camby, with no playoff experience, another catalyst in this. Thomas only 3 games of playoff experience like Sprewell, and that's why they keep saying an improbable run to the finals by the New York Knicks, because not a lot of experience in there, then losing Ewing and tonight without LJ. So this team just has it resolved. They have the tenacity to overcome a lot of adversity. As we often allude to, this is a team of adversity. They do not handle prosperity well, but tonight they did, and they closed out the series.
Yes, the Knicks over the Pacers 90-82 to knock off the Indiana Pacers in 6 as the San Antonio Spurs wait in the wings. More to come here on the postgame. We'll hear from Patrick Ewing. Bill Walton will be joining us shortly. Chris Childs reminding people of the injury hit Larry Johnson. We'll be right back.
Taxi! Stop! Hey, somebody call 911! Hey! Hey, is this your truck?
Yeah.
Come on. Get a Toyota Tacoma 4x4. You can't get a more powerful V6, and with up to $1,300 in option package discounts, it's a steal. So's the Tacoma 4x2, rated best overall value of the year.
You okay?
I'm good, but officer, is that your car?
Yeah.
Come on.
This is a message for Karen Quinn, card member since '82.
Sören hade fel. Jag har havet.
Because you've been to see virtually every film ever made, and because you used your card to buy 10 tickets for Movie Phone, your next cinematic experience is on us.
Jag är helt överlycklig.
Yet another reason to do more with the American Express card.
Naturally put themselves out for others. Which is why one day, we hope that Rebecca's favorite job will be with the world's favorite airline.
Call 1-800-THE-DIME.
You are watching the Toyota Knicks postgame special. Toyota, every day.
This Tuesday at 11:30 following MSG Sports Desk, a special NBA Finals preview, and the entire staff will be on hand. Myself, Walt Clyde Frazier, Mike Breen, John Andres, Gus Johnson, to take a look ahead to the NBA Finals Series, which begins at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio on Wednesday night. So that's coming up on Tuesday following Sports Desk at 11:30. Al Troutwick, we're told, has a further report on the injury suffered by Larry Johnson. Let's go to Al downstairs.
All right, Marv, Knick team physician Dr. Norman Scott, one of the best doctors in the city of New York, has just explained the situation with Larry Johnson to Garden President Dave Checketts, and did so with a smile. He told me he's very optimistic and isn't ruling anything out. His official status is day-to-day, but there is a good shot, at least, that Larry Johnson would be available for Game 1 in San Antonio, and he said Larry Johnson would definitely be available at some point in the series. So if you're a Knick fan, you can go to sleep tonight feeling pretty good about the status of Larry Johnson as the Knicks win this one 90-82. We'll have more from the floor, but right now back to you, Marv.
All right, thank you, Al. I'm told, in fact, the czar, Mike Fratello, the former coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, in the building tonight, and when he saw Johnson go down, when he heard the report, he said it depends on the swelling. He has lost players for 7, 8, 9 games at times, or guys bounce back, and hopefully we'll see Larry Johnson bounce back, and as Al indicated, might be ready for game number 1.
I think he will, Marv, because now you're talking the finals of the NBA, so guys are going to be galvanized to get out there and play. LJ, a very strong man, 6'7", 235, and I think he's going to have a resolve to get back in there.
All right, a man who is sitting it out for the Knicks with that Achilles tendon injury, Patrick Ewing, was one of the chief cheerleaders from the Knick bench. In fact, getting the crowd revved up from time to time during tonight's action. Here is Patrick moments ago in the Knick locker room.
We're right there knocking on the door. All we have to do is kick it open.
Is that the best you've ever seen Allen Houston when he was in the second half?
This game meant more, so yeah. You know, this is the biggest I've ever seen him play in, the side.
Is there any way to describe where you guys have been since 21 and 21? What's happened to this team?
You guys will bury us. covered up, you know, started shoveling dirt on us, and you know, we still believed in ourselves, we believed in our coach.
What about the Spurs? What will be the Spurs?
What's that?
What kind of matchup?
Right now, I'm not even worried about the Spurs. I'm just going to enjoy this win tonight.
How tough will it be to beat them?
What about you? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, from a very low-key Patrick Ewing to certainly a low-key Reggie Miller. This is live at the podium.
You say to yourself, you'll take them. You know, you try to get some easy ones, try to get to a line, try to get a rhythm. But, you know, the whole night, it just seems like they were going in and out.
Can you talk about, like, last year you guys were one game away from going to the finals, took Jordan and the Bulls pretty deep. This year, big expectations. What's the feeling you have right now?
No question, we're disappointed. You know, getting out the gates real quick in the first 2 rounds, you know, feeling pretty good about yourself, and to come in here and not play well. You know, you're right about the expectations. They were great on this team. You know, we're all, you know, we're disappointed.
Pretty much marquee player of yourselves, or was it you were just off? Or was it the defense?
No, I had too many open looks for it to be defense. You know, I just missed shots. If anyone's disappointed, you know, the other 11 guys, they really battled tonight. You really have to tip their hats to the guys that competed tonight. I lost this game for us and our franchise and our state. They should hang their heads high because they really competed tonight. You know, I've got to accept the blame. I got to look at myself. I did not make shots when I was supposed to.
Reggie, overall in the series, I mean, you've killed the Knicks so many times, especially here. Are you surprised at the series as a whole that you had the good half and the 2 free throws, but it was kind of a quiet series for you? Are you surprised how it went overall for you?
Like I said, I have to accept responsibility for this team. I'm one of the captains, I'm one of the leaders, and you know, they rode my back the first 2 rounds, and they were looking to ride my back this round, and I didn't do it for them. So I have to take responsibility for that. You know, I'm disappointed because I definitely feel I let our franchise down, and really our state. You know, they've been riding our backs as well, and for me to come up so short at such a crucial part and a crucial time, it's very difficult.
2 more for Reggie. How much of Houston's defense against you?
Like I said, I had shots. I had looks.
Reggie, now that you've seen Latrell, Sprewell, Camby, and the rest, the new version of the Knicks, how would you predict and how do you analyze this series against San Antonio?
To tell you the truth, I can't even answer that. I can't answer that.
Take 1 more. Reggie, has there ever been a more bitter moment in your life or playing career?
Bitter? I don't know if that's the word. Probably use a better adjective.
Disappointed?
Probably not. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Clyde, Reggie looking for better questions from the media, but certainly an objective assessment by Reggie Miller, and giving the proper credit for the Knicks. But Reggie just had a horrible series, had the 130-point game the other night in Game 5, but tonight 3 of 18 from the field. At one point he was 1 for 10. He just could not buy one.
Right, and we thought he was being overzealous, but also the good D by Houston. I think next season Miller's going to have a difficult time because teams watch the playoffs. They see the success the Knicks had against him, getting over the curl play, guys helping out, and tonight he was atrocious in his shooting, and I don't know if he's on the way down now. No longer a Knick killer for sure, but he's got to do some soul searching and also work on some creativity.
Subject we'll be touching on in a moment with Bill Walton, who'll be joining us. I would think that the Indiana Pacers have to look to restructuring the ball club, certainly from the point of view of looking for more athletic guys, and it's an old club, and they look now much older after the 6-game loss to the Knicks.
Right, the 4th oldest club in the league right now are the Pacers. I thought they were very old on the defense. They did not have the legs. When Camby came in the game, it was very obvious he was very buoyant on the glass. They never really put a body on him. Supposedly that was a bounty on him by Larry Bird, but I really didn't see them putting a body on Camby. So he had a lot of success going to the glass, uncontested for dunk shots. And defensively, in Game 5 out there, in the last 5 minutes of the game, the Knicks had no trouble getting into the paint, and that's why LJ was uncontested from downtown. Childs did a nice job going in the paint, Sprewell. Now the Pacers had the double team, and that left the Knicks open on the perimeter.
All right, Clive, we'll be seeing you on the post-game show during the course of the NBA Finals Series, which is coming up starting on Wednesday at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, and you'll be joining us for that special preview show Tuesday night at 11:30. Bill Walton will be coming up next here on the Toyota post-game special. The Knicks over the Indiana Pacers. One of the reasons they got here, that shot by Allen Houston to beat Miami in game number 5. Then it was on to knock off Atlanta and the Indiana Pacers.
Hit well, right field. Back is Gonzalez looking up, and we're tied at 1.
The Yanks and the Marlins, Saturday on MSG.
History-making moments happen at Madison Square Garden. Now you can own unforgettable Garden memories, from the fight of the century to the '73 Knicks championship, and the newest sensation, the New York Liberty. The style, the spirit, the glory, the Madison Square Garden collection. One-of-a-kind or limited editions, unique, timeless, treasured additions to any collection, reflecting moments forever etched in our minds from the world's most famous arena. And of course, they're authentic. They're garden guaranteed. The Madison Square Garden Collection. Garden memories you can own forever. The Madison Square Garden Collection. Truly rare memorabilia straight from the garden.
Looking for a team that's filled with action. Watch the liberty and get satisfaction. Have you on your feet jumping, screaming, oh, what a thrill. Can you catch the thrill, catch the thrill? Can you catch the New York Liberty thrill? Yeah.
Do you think you got game? Well, no matter what your age or skill level, here's your chance to learn from the pros. The Gatorade Knicks Summer Basketball Camps are back. Join some of the Knicks' biggest names for the hoops experience of a lifetime. Boys ages 8 to 18 can improve their skills at one of 4 sessions throughout the summer. Session 1 at Kings Point, Long Island. Session 2 at Island Garden in West Hempstead. Sessions 3 and 4 at Manhattan College in Riverdale. The Gatorade Knicks Summer Basketball Camps. Call and reserve your spot today.
Back on the postgame, Rick Smits will not leave the building. Still here at Madison Square Garden as we are joined by Bill Walton, a man who several years ago worked with Rick Smits on his foot technique and his moves. And Rick obviously had a very difficult series.
Some might say, Marv, that Rick Smith's spending a little bit of extra time right now in the Garden because he got here so late to begin with and just trying to put in a full day's work. But it was a disappointing series for the Pacers, but an exhilarating one for the Knicks. And the reason that the Knicks won was that Allen Houston finally played like Walt Frazier. And you saw those replays that they kept showing where Houston was driving the lane and getting up while everybody else was down underneath him looking up. When you're playing like that, there is nothing anybody can do about that. That's the way Walt Frazier played all the time, and tonight the Knicks rode a great, great performance, not only from Houston, but Sprewell, Camby, and Jeff Van Gundy, maybe most importantly. I think serious coaching edge there, Van Gundy over Larry Bird.
Bill joining us following the NBC telecast with Tom Hammond and Steve Jones. And, you know, looking at this game, looking at this entire Knick run, going back into the history of the NBA, and this is certainly a fractured season with the lockout shortening things to 50 games, and you figure there'd be some surprises come playoff time, but I can't recall a team coming out of nowhere as dramatically as the Knicks have to make it to the NBA Finals.
And to just have more of the continuing saga of adversity that they have to go over. And it just builds again tonight with Larry Johnson going down. And every time something disastrous happens, I mean, has a team ever overcome on the long term the loss of a franchise player like Patrick Ewing? No. I mean, the Knicks were able to do it with Walt Frazier having the huge Game 7 in 1970. But we're talking now, they've had it going for a while now. And it's just so incredible. But that's the beauty of basketball, in that it's just guys sitting around. And there's no difference what goes on out there on the court here in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals as to what goes on in the playgrounds out on the street. You sit there and you figure out a way to win, and that's what the Knicks have done. It's good. It's good that by the end of the 6th game, I figured out who's playing.